Our triple header continues here on BTN from Piscataway, New Jersey. The revamped Rutgers Scarlet Knights back at home where they're 11-0 this season. It's Rutgers and the Minnesota Golden Gophers, BTN basketball. And it's a great one today here at the Rack. And welcome, I'm Ed Cohen. Great to be joined by former Maryland star Christy Winter-Scott. Well, Rutgers retooled this season, a great improvement from last year, but last time out, their 11-game win streak was snapped, scoring only 33 points in a loss at Purdue. While Minnesota on Wednesday, their best shooting performance in the 4 years under Marlene Stallings, a 20-point victory on the road in State College.
Well, this is a highly potent offensive team with Minnesota. They've scored over 100 points 4 times this year, and their last 2 outings, they have been scoring in an efficient manner, 86 points and 91 points. But look at against Penn State, 91, and then the contrast in style there with Purdue game with Rutgers, only 33 points for the Scarlet Knights. But defensively for Rutgers, they have been tremendous. Back to their patented 55 defense. They're only giving up 54 points to their opponents because of their staunch defensive effort. If you can't play defense, you cannot play for C. Vivian Stringer.
Yeah, Christy, if you can't hit threes, you can't play for Marlene Stallings. Over 9 threes per game for Carly Wagner and the Golden Gophers.
Well, the defense for Rutgers will definitely be paying much attention to the three-point shooting prowess for Minnesota. They're shooting 37% on the season, which is 3rd best in the Big Ten.
Kanisha Bell at the point for Minnesota. What a year she's had. 1st in the league in assists as well as free throws made. Rutgers, you talk about Tyler Scaife, 5th-year senior, off to a terrific start, reached 2,000 points with 9 points the last time out against Purdue.
Yeah, she's had a magnificent turnaround this year after missing last season with that injury, but back at it for her senior season, clicking on all cylinders.
Underway here in Piscataway, New Jersey. And off the tip, Destiny Pitts could not stay in bounds for Minnesota. Golden Gophers, 91-71 victory at Penn State. We mentioned shot almost 58%, the best mark under Marlene Stallings in her 4th year as head coach in Minneapolis.
Right, and this Rutgers team, they turn opponents over 21 times a game. And that's tops in the Big Ten Conference and 24th overall in the country as they turn it over there.
On cue the other way.
Right, so it's going to be very interesting to see how Minnesota handles the pressure.
Minnesota turnover, KK Sanders takes advantage. So both teams struggling, controlling the ball in the first 22 seconds. Rutgers strikes first.
And here's their press, a 1-2-2 look. Trapping, trying to take away the middle, even though Tyler Scaife was a little late rotating over there to the middle to get that steal from Bell.
Golden Gophers 5-3 on the road this season against a Rutgers team that's still perfect at home. Bell on the attack. Fernstrom knocked away and a steal for Scaife. 2-on-1 for the Scarlet Knights. Scaife collects and finally gets the bounce.
Steal and score mentality. That's Rutgers basketball. They want to get it and go. If you're Minnesota, you have to be leery in the passing lanes. You have to use a lot of ball fakes on teams that are aggressive.
Brianna Fernstrom nowhere to go against the double. And now a reset for Minnesota. Marlene Stallings already about to make a substitution as Jesse Edwards is up off the bench. Pitts, the freshman, 5 to shoot. And hand check called on Rutgers' Gia Green, the transfer from Miami.
Yeah, as soon as Pitts turned around, you've got to let loose, okay? When she had her back to the basket, she's a post player. As soon as she turns around, she's a ball handler.
C. Vivian Stringer. There's the list. She is 7 wins shy of joining those 4 Titans with 1,000 career wins.
Well, I know Mount Rushmore has 4, but I think they can carve out a 5th when C. Vivian Stringer eclipses 1,000 victories for her illustrious career, 47 seasons.
Gina Auriemma, Sylvia Hatcher reaching 1,000 on the same day this year. Second chance for Minnesota. 14-4 record coming in. Bell frees up space, can't connect. Pitts with the rebound, and it's taken away by Sanders.
Oh, I love the rip.
Sets up the 3. Green can't connect. In midair with one hand, it's flicked in by Stasia Carey.
Stasia Carey right there with the highlight of the day so far. I'm sure there's going to be many more, but that was spectacular. Great body control.
Christy, Rutgers 3 of 4 to start the game. Bell called for steps, and the Scarlet Knights will get it back.
Well, when Rutgers can gain possession on a defensive stop, and a rebound is a stop, rip and go. Sanders off to the races. Pushing tempo, the 3 ball is off, but right there. Ooh, Stacey Carey, that was beautiful.
Carey, another transfer from Pittsburgh, among the group that sat out last year, including Scaife. Targeting this season, what's been a big one for Rutgers, already a 10-win turnaround. Sanders with 9 to shoot, off the bounce, knocks it down using the screen, and Rutgers with the early 8-0 advantage.
And that was excellent execution against a 2-3 zone, another steal for Rutgers.
3-on-2, Sanders sets up Scaife. And Edwards back for the rebound for the Golden Gophers.
Well, that's a good shot to take. She didn't force the issue into the paint where the defense was.
Bell doesn't get the bounce, tapped out of bounds, and last deflected by Jesse Edwards from Minnesota. Marlene Stallings, her 4th year leading the Golden Gophers, took them to the NCAA tournament in her first season with Amanda Zowie B. But this is a group, Christy. Rachel Banham is gone. You look at Carly Wagner, the senior. This is her team, and a great freshman to boot as well with Destiny Pitts.
No doubt. And Minnesota, they have 4 starters who average in double figures, so they have great balance. It's not just one player getting it done or relied upon. You know where the ball is going at the end. They have 4 vital weapons on the offensive end to get it done.
Wagner with the rebound. Minnesota on average, +6 on the glass.
They have size, but they also have the ability to get their guards in there who rebound extremely well.
5-second count. Wagner couldn't find a teammate, and it's Carey with the great defense. And 5 turnovers already for Minnesota, Christie, in 3+ minutes.
Well, that's good news if you're a Rutgers fan and if you're C. Vivian Stringer. The defense is getting the job done out of the gates, and that's what you want to see coming off of that performance against Purdue, like you said, where they only scored 33 points. Purdue only had 47.
Scaife on cue, knocks it down. 10-0 Rutgers. Timeout Minnesota. A huge start for the Scarlet Knights.
Well, we knew that the defense was going to do its job. Rutgers getting it done at home.
This is the calling card for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, and so far, Christie, in this game, 5 Minnesota turnovers have led to 8 points for Rutgers.
Well, that is the MO for the smothering defense that Rutgers provides on a nightly basis. The Scarlet Knights here at home, they want to put a stranglehold on you early. And even though you didn't get a deflection, you made a panic from that opponent, and they turned the ball over. And once they get it turned over, they are off and running, pushing tempo up the floor. Sanders right here on the penetration kick out. Transition threes are always going to be there, but you have to be there to board. And Rutgers has really been doing a good job in that area as well.
The big motto here in Piscataway, New Jersey, as Hubbard can't connect. Knocked out of bounds, going to stay with Minnesota. The 55 is back. The vaunted 55 pressure defense, full court press under C. Vivian Stringer.
And C. Vivian Stringer was frustrated because last year, with only 6 wins Rutgers had, they could not apply that kind of pressure. They did not have depth. They had a lot of injuries. They had a couple players leave. But then with this group, it's a renewed presence of the pride that it takes to be a great defensive team.
Carly Wagner finally gets Minnesota on the board. Took over 4 minutes, and Rutgers leads 10-2 here in the first quarter.
And Carly Wagner, the senior, just under 18 points a game for her. She's very effective and efficient with her 1-2 dribble pull-up in the mid-range.
Scaife, shot clock at 10. Cece Fryer, back up top. Scaife intercepted. Kanisha Bell, league leader in steals, kept it in bounds. Nice feed, and Hubbard with the layup.
Well, the other players for Rutgers can't jog back. Even though there were 2 defensive players there, you can't trot back because of plays like that one. Somebody's got to be available to pack the paint and not allow an easy bucket like that for Minnesota. Now 3-2 zone look that morphs back down into a 2-3 on reversals.
Open look this time, Carey. Rainmaker goes down. Rutgers was 1 of 20 from 3 in the loss at Purdue Wednesday. They have their first 3 today.
I was thinking you got to, oh, that's off of Minnesota there, but I was thinking for C. Vivian Stringer, if a 3 went up and it didn't go in, that's going to be, you're going to look over at that table, see if somebody's coming for you. If it goes in, you're safe, right? Maker, be a shot maker.
It was a head-scratching game, no doubt, Wednesday. 47-33 loss to Purdue. 1 3-pointer, 20 personal fouls on Rutgers, only 6 on the Boilermakers, and none were called in the first half. Well, Scaife throws it away. Here comes Minnesota off the turnover. Bell on a kick. Wagner for 3. Knocked out of bounds, going to stay with the Golden Gophers.
Well, that's a great shot choice in transition. Everyone's filtering back into the painted area. So find your shooters. That's why Minnesota is third best in the Big Ten in their shooting efficiency. 37% from range.
Cece Cryer back in, number 5 in white. Opens Wagner off the inbounds, and she buries the 3. And Minnesota's back within 6.
Simplicity. That's the best kind of offense. You don't want to complicate things, have 4 or 5 different options. If you can just get the ball in and stick it, get that done.
Minnesota over 9 threes per game. And a turnover by Rutgers off the hands of Cece Cryer, so the Golden Gophers are going to take over.
Watch this trigger inbounds. Just out wide to the opposite side. Nobody's there to cover it. Wagner rips it.
Second in the Big Ten in threes per game. Here's a look for Hubbard. Wagner offensive rebound. Another chance. Bell on a kick. Hits for 3. Referees will confer, and it's going back to the Scarlet Knights. Last touch by Wagner from Minnesota.
Well, I like the fight on the offensive boards by Carly Wagner right there. And we were talking about how their guards get in on board. She averages 4 rebounds a game. But they know when they shoot threes, those are going to come off long, so the guards have to be active.
Ball loose, carry on the deck. Bodies all over it. And we'll get a tie-up, and the arrow says it will go back to the Golden Gophers. Down 13-7 with 3:38 to go in the first quarter.
Just right inside. Oh, sit back. Sit back with that block. That was fabulous. I told you there were going to be more highlights.
Active at the rim.
Hey, Ed, that's 2. I think we're going to get a lot more in this game.
Caitlin Jenkins, who's been the top post player off the bench for Rutgers, number 15 in white, has come on for C. Vivian Stringer. Bell hesitates, attacks, throws it up. Knocked out of bounds. Last touch by Bell, going for the rebound.
What Rutgers needs to do, I know they like to turn teams over, but they've had some empty possessions on the offensive end. So against the zone, you've got to get good ball reversals. Can't just stay on one side. You want to overload it, but you got to move it.
Over the top, Jenkins couldn't cash in. Hits with the save. And Minnesota goes back to work. Golden Gophers 3 of 11 to start the game. Wagner, the senior, steps out, denied going up by Jenkins.
Nice contest by Jenkins there.
Scaife glides to the rim, the switch, and the easy finish for one of the best in the Big Ten.
Well, I love the change of speed by Tyler Scaife. It's hard to judge if she's going to stop and pull up or hesitate and get by.
Rutgers scored the first 10 points. Lead is 8 now. Wagner no look. Pitts catch and shoot 3. Block going up by Scaife. Back-to-back block 3s for the Scarlet Knights.
Rutgers does a good job of contesting 3s.
Transition D for Rutgers. Hubbard denied going up, knocked away. Last touch by Cece Cryer. And Jesse Edwards re-enters, takes a spot of Taye Bello.
Now right here, you see Tyler Scaife coming at you. Are you going to pull up? Nope, I'm going to get by and finish with my left. So she did just enough to keep the defense off balance to get that strong finish.
And now Scaife getting a breather as Desiree Keelings come on, and off the inbounds, it's an offensive foul on Minnesota.
It looked like Kanisha Bell just displaced the defender. Now the defense has allowed that spot. So you can't bump into them and take them off of their allowed position.
First foul on Bell. 2 and change to go first quarter. Rutgers up 15-7. Sanders short, and the rebound chased down by Jaslyn Rollins.
You see Vivian Stringer there wants penetration against the zone. She doesn't want to settle for the outside shots. She's moving her hand like, take it to the basket, dribble it in there. Attack the elbows, that's the soft spot in the zone, and then you can find somebody.
Pass right through the teeth of it was deflected. It's going to stay with Rutgers with 13 to shoot. Now, early in the year, Rutgers employed more of a platoon setup because they're deep in the way they play defensively. Right now, seeing some of the reserves out there now.
Well, sometimes when you're a guard, you see the post player wide open. The post player, you got to be sitting in there with your hands up. I played with an All-American guard in Dina Tate, and boy, I learned quickly that I was open when I didn't know about it. She found me.
Set the target. Carry to the rim. Edwards well defended, and last touch by the Scarlet Knights.
You have to stay ready so you don't have to get ready if you're a post player.
When the action ends, the Big Show takes over. Highlights, reaction, and analysis from around the conference. The Big Show right after we're done here on BTN. Ed Cohen, Christy Winter-Scott with you from Piscataway, New Jersey. Rutgers, winners of 11 of 12. 10 more wins already than all of last season when they won just 6 games. Ball trapped. Scarlet Knights keep control, and it was kicked out of bounds off of Edwards. Very close play there on the baseline with Scaife, but Rutgers will hold on with 20 on the shot clock.
Well, we came into this game talking about the scrappiness of Rutgers on the defensive end, but boy, that was a great scrappy defensive possession for Minnesota.
Marlene Stallings believes their defense fuels their offense.
But even though they score the ball extremely well, 86 points on the season, 83 in Big Ten play, they give up 76 points to their opponents.
4 to shoot. Scaife short, and Wagner finds the rebound. Bell circles, leans in, and scores. Tough drive that time against Jaslyn Rollins.
Well, that's a tough finish with your right hand on the left-handed side with the defense right there on your right-hand side. Strong body. Nice finish in there.
What a year it's been for Kenesha Bell. Her first basket, she's 1 of 4. And the Scarlet Knights turn it over. So that's the 5th on Rutgers compared to 7 for the Golden Gophers.
Well, Kenesha Bell is 6th in scoring in the Big Ten because of plays like this. Great body control, upper body strength, leaning into the defender. How many times have you seen players lean away like they don't want to be touched? Kenesha Bell welcomes that. That helps her. Lean in, take the contact, and finish it.
She added about 10 or 12 pounds of muscle. Marlene Stallings described a pro-style body entering this season.
Absolutely.
Destiny Pitt steps out and drains a 3, and the Golden Gophers, who are down 10-0, are back within 3.
Because of their three-point shooting prowess. They've knocked in a couple now, and that's their comfort zone. If they can get some clean looks, that ball is up and in.
5 seconds. Sanders, high-low, Keeling the catch, missed it. Carey puts it in with 1 second to go. And a nice finish to a good first quarter for Rutgers, 17-12 over Minnesota. Scarlet Knights trying to bounce back from the loss on Wednesday in West Lafayette. A 5-point lead after 1. Start of the second quarter on BTN. Rutgers leading Minnesota 17-12. Ed Cohen, Christy Winter-Scott with you. Marlene Stallings carries a quiet intensity with her on the Golden Gophers bench. But Christy, a marvelous player back in her days in high school in Ohio at Beaver Eastern High School. Over 3,500 points, a record for boys or girls in the Buckeye State. And coming up on the anniversary, January 12th, 1993 was the record breaker.
Well, you see Katie Smith on there as well. Marlene Stallings, 3,514 points. That is just outstanding. I mean, I wish I could have seen her play because that is uncommon. But the fact that she is that competitive, that speaks volumes to who she is as a coach as well. She expects the best from her players and holds them accountable to finite details, and that's what it takes to be that level of player in high school and college at Ohio State, where she played with Katie Smith. And wait, didn't LeBron James play in Ohio?
He was pretty good, too.
I think he was all right, but wow, more than LeBron, the king. I love it.
St. Vincent St. Mary back in the day. And you wonder why Minnesota's teams have been high scoring under Marlene Stallings. The top 3 seasons, threes made in Golden Gopher history, even some great seasons, have come under Stallings. Steal for Rutgers. This is their calling card. KK Sanders connects on the other end.
That 1-2-1-1 55 press. is a beast. You cannot be casual with the basketball around Rutgers on their defensive pressure. You've got to take care of the basketball. You've got to rip it. You've got to come and meet passes.
Wagner, nice feed. Bello over the rim, no good, but she was fouled going up. It's on Desiree Keeling.
And watch this defense. The rotation when the ball is in the air is how this trap occurs. Nowhere to go, nowhere to pass it. And then the other way, once again, a steal and score opportunity for Rutgers, making life easy.
Deja K.K. Sanders Jr. from the state of Illinois has been effective in getting her teammates involved with 5+ assists in 7 games this season. Bello at the free throw line connects on 2. 19-14 Rutgers, first minute of play, second quarter.
And Minnesota was behind 10-0 to start this game, so they have chipped away, trying to get themselves back into the game, sticking with their zone defense, bumping players through.
Carey, nice take. Too much. Bell finding Wagner. Attacks and kicks, and it's anticipated well by Sanders. Another steal for Rutgers. Gia Green to the rim, and she'll now go to the line with 8:34 to go in the second quarter.
Just the ability for Rutgers to get into the passing lanes. You know, Carly Wagner has great vision. And right here, she sees the open player, but that gap closes so quickly. So when that ball is in the air, you have to make sure that pass is going to get there because they're so quick in terms of their anticipation skills and getting hands in the passing lanes. You just have to be 100% sure and double check. Like, be 100% sure and then double check that thought.
Gia Green through at the line. In a lot of ways, Christy, there's been a recommitment from Rutgers, led by Tyler Scaife on the defensive end. You're seeing it across the board. This was a 6-win team a year ago, and you fast forward to this season, they're tops in the Big Ten in numerous defensive categories.
Absolutely. I mean, just having the voice and the physical presence now this season on the court with Tyler Scaife, that has been the major key, but it's been a collective effort. I mean, she's a great leader and holds her teammates accountable, which is sometimes more powerful coming from players than the coaches.
Edwards, a senior from Minnesota with the putback, native of Australia. Almost 2 minutes into the second quarter, Rutgers up 21-16. And Scaife has been on the bench for a while now, going back to the first quarter, receiving an early breather here from C. Vivian Stringer.
It won't be long, I'm sure she'll be back.
Edwards with the board. And Bell looking to push for the Golden Gophers. Pitts, catch and shoot 3. Rainmaker too much. And Sanders all the way back for the rebound. Shovels for the trailer. Green offloads. Open 3. Rollins. And she gets the bounce.
Well, the iron was very kind on that one. With the Plinko drop.
And Wagner's going to the line. You must have watched that show back in the day when you were homesick from school.
Oh, yeah. You know, that was always a lot of fun. But right here, making the extra pass, that's an uncommon skill as well because everyone wants to get involved and see their name in the paper, but how many times did that ball hit the rim before it dropped down? Holding our breath. We thought it was going to pop out. It dropped right through the middle.
Jordan Wallace has come on for Keeling, and Cryer re-enters for Rutgers in the place of Sanders. I guess there's a reason why Rutgers, besides playing well defensively, is 11-0 here at the rack this season. The rim's in their favor on that 3. And now Minnesota's going to get it back after the rebound's knocked loose.
Well, you've got to grab the basketball with 2 hands. Sometimes you just, you know, you have it in your hand. It's like, well, I have it. Secure the ball and make sure, squeeze it. You've got to have a hold.
Bell trying to save. Wagner on the attack. Gets to the rim. And the rebound taken down by Jordan Wallace.
Just looking to push tempo. Now they're going to balance some things out. Let's see how many ball reversals they get in this possession. There's one. There's the second one, and see if they get to the high post. That high post is wide open if they test it.
8 on the shot clock. Cryer hands off. Wallace inside, puts it in. Nice attack that time of the zone.
Fantastic patience and poise by Rutgers on that offensive possession. Swing the ball and attack it in the paint.
Godiva Hubbard answers with the 3. Last year, Hubbard as a freshman scored 19 in a win at home against Rutgers.
Godiva Hubbard, you don't really talk about her as much as she needs to be talked about because she's one of those X factors flying under the radar for Minnesota.
Golden Gophers back within 6 after trailing 10-0 to start. Low, high, low. Wraparound pass, Wallace with the finish, and give to Kia Mack all the credit, the freshman from Chicago with the assist.
Beautiful pass. That's why you have to stay ready.
Pitch trailing, fouled going up from behind by Green, shooting the 3, and Godiva Hubbard will go to the line for 3.
We'll just watch the post play right now for Rutgers coming up huge. So Wallace gets that one, and then watch his pass. Hello, be ready. Her head went back a little. I don't know if she was 100% ready to catch that, but she got it.
If you can fool your teammates, you've done something right, I guess.
Well, part of it is the ball's coming towards your face, so there's a protective, humanistic value to that. But at the same time, you got to be ready to shoot and score, too.
Takia Mack played at the same high school, Marshall High School, as former Rutgers great Cappy Pondexter. And Tyler Scaife back in for Rutgers. She became the 3rd Scarlet Knight to reach 2,000 points in the loss at Purdue, joining 2 legends in Sue Wicks, and of course the best player in the C. Vivian Stringer era in Cappy Pondexter.
Yeah, Cappy Pondexter recently celebrated a birthday, 35 years old.
Hubbard the steal, got her defender airborne. Cryer climbs the back, and Hubbard's going back to the line, this time for 2.
And just turnovers for Rutgers, giving Minnesota opportunities to continue to climb back in this game. Going back to Cappy Pondexter being from Chicago and Marshall High School, I saw her as a player in high school, and Cappy had this tattoo on her arm. It was of the WNBA insignia on her arm. It was really fun to see that. I was like, wow, that's a confident kid to have the WNBA mark on her arm as a tattoo. So a great career, Olympic gold medalist, WNBA champ, and an amazing mentor for Tyler Scaife.
Had her sights set early on. Some really good Chicago players have played here at Rutgers. And her C. Vivian Stringer, also former point guard and assistant coach Tasha Pointer. Scaife rips through, doesn't get the bounce, and the rebound taken by Bell. Minnesota's down 3. Hanging tough after a slow start. Wagner skips it out, hits, leans in, and the rebound taken weak side by Mack.
And Jordan Wallace disrupted that shot, even though she didn't block it.
Cryer penetrates and will go to the line for Rutgers as we near the midway point of the second quarter, and the Scarlet Knights lead once 10, now down to 3.
And it's been because Rutgers has turned the ball over a little bit here in the second quarter. They have been taking pretty good care of the basketball after the first quarter, but you have to, if you want to win games, you can disrupt turnover teams, but you can't be doing the same thing.
Right.
Or else you're going to have a back and forth contest.
Next on BTN, our women's basketball triple header continues when Purdue travels to 18th ranked Iowa. It's all next right here on BTN and streaming live on the BTN To Go app.
How about Megan Gustafson this season? Just amazing, 16 double-doubles to lead the country in double-doubles. Oh, she's just a fantastic young lady.
And you look at where the Big Ten's leading scorers rank nationally. Kelsey Mitchell, number 2, 26 points per game. Michigan's Caitlin Flaherty, 6th. And Gustafson right behind those two, 7th in the country, averaging almost 23 a game.
She's a tough matchup for anyone.
Off the miss by Bell, Rutgers with it. A 30-25 advantage, under 5 to go in the second. Cryer offloads. Harris inside, gets it to go, and the foul. Give the assist to C.C. Cryer, and Victoria Harris now with a chance at 3.
Well, C.C. Cryer carving a path into the paint right here. Get by with that first step and then dime off to the weak side. And 1 for Rutgers.
Minnesota down 10-0 early, back within 7 here on the road at Rutgers. Christy Winter-Scott, you look at the stars from Minnesota. It's not just one player. The Gopher quartet led by Kenesha Bell.
Well, it's a collective effort, and that's what it should be, right? You want to have great balance so you have weapons all over the floor. You have 4 starters in double figures in conference play. Here their numbers. So when you have that, you can spread the wealth. You can spread the floor, pick your poison, depending upon what kind of defensive coverage you're looking at, and attack in a way that best benefits your team. So to have Kenesha Bell leading the way this year, and Carly Wagner, just a viable option as a senior. And for her to have that kind of versatility, Marilyn Stallings loves it. The balance of that.
4 guards, 1 post player, and it's worked. And the players this season have bought in after winning 15 games a year ago. I found the backcourt on Cece Cryer for Rutgers. That's her second.
And with this Iowa team, with this Minnesota team, they have been very potent offensively. And when they have been efficient, they have done so well in terms of getting their 3-point shots down, especially in transition. But when they played Ohio State, those shots weren't falling, and they couldn't get back into that game. But they had a chance. If they had played like they did against Penn State, where they won by 20 and scored 91 points, that would have been a difference maker. But Minnesota is a team that needs to make their shots, especially from the outside, to balance out their offense.
Scaife with a look, and she drains it for Rutgers. Scarlet Knights up 35-26. And when they get a make, they can extend their pressure. Minnesota handles it with ease. But then Bell looking for Edwards. And unless you're 7-footer or more, you're not bringing that one down.
No, and the one-handed pass is what was the culprit on that decision. And Minnesota's in a 2-2-1 here. You got to keep 2 hands on the ball so you have more control.
Carey, strong take. And the Golden Gophers collect the rebound. Coming back to that win on Wednesday at Penn State, Christie. They hit 10 threes, plus 22 in the paint. Here's Hubbard with a look, and she drains the triple. Godiva Hubbard with her second 3, and now the 4th for Minnesota.
And only 5 seconds off the shot clock on that one. So you bypass the pressure, throw it over top, and get a quick shot up and in.
9+ threes per game for the Golden Gophers, second best mark in the Big Ten. Tough pass. Edwards knocks it away as Sanders tried to force it to Harris. Bell, secondary break. Nowhere to go. Finds Wagner for 3. Long bounce. Carey gets there first before Bell.
Rutgers slows it down, and when they are patient in the court, they have come up with some really good shots.
Carey underneath, puts it in. Rutgers with 22 points in the paint right now, and their lead's back to 8.
And Minnesota only has 6 points in the paint. So they're getting theirs on the outside, Rutgers getting theirs on the inside.
Good news if you're a Rutgers fan. You look at the scoreboard, it says 37 for the home team. That's 4 more than they had in all of Wednesday's loss at Purdue.
Right.
Come a long way from a 33-point effort. Scaife, nice feed. Harris off the window. Don't know if she called it. The lead is 10.
I don't think she called that, but she'll take it. And so we'll see Vivian Stringer, another paint point for the Scarlet Knights.
That's been Hubbard's spot. Second chance, it's Pitts launching. Third opportunity for the Golden Gophers. Hubbard had the step on Harris. Wagner open. Nice cut without the ball, and she buries the 3.
That's why you have to keep yourself available and stay close to the 3-point line. Relocate, but don't relocate so far that you're not a shot maker from 3.
Wagner second all-time in 3s made at Minnesota. Backdoor, ball deflected as Carey is looking for Scaife, and they say off of Rutgers. Minnesota's going to take over.
Just watch Carly Wagner, number 33, right there. She's going to fold back over to the baseline and stick it. See, the defense had pinched down, so that's just a great read offensively by the senior.
Marlene Stallings telling us that after Wagner scored 23 at Penn State, hit 5 threes Wednesday. That was big because her confidence had dipped after a couple of off nights.
Right, and that can't happen. If you're a shooter, then you're a shooter. And you have to have amnesia and trust your work ethic. Trust the work that you've put in. There's no way that a shooting mentality has any inkling of lack of confidence.
Carly Wagner, you look at what she did last year. More attempts this year, far more efficient.
Yeah, 40% from three for Wagner this year. After 28% last year, taking less shots this year. So that means you put the work in. So trust that.
Wallace kept control. In midair, Carey improvises, went up for two, missed it, but she'll go to the line. Stasia Carey, Christy, has wonderful hops, and she makes something out of a tough opportunity.
Well, she has go-go gadget arms, too. That helps the cause. But right here, yes, she got pushed in the back, but she got another offensive rebound. So if you just get your nose in there, great things can happen for you. Stay active. When your teammates shoot the ball, wiggle your way, maneuver in there.
Marlene Stallings turning to her bench. Jasmine Brunson, sophomore from Queens at Mary Lewis Academy, has come on for Kenesha Bell. 1-2 trip for Carey. Rutgers up 40-32, and we have a $1:18 to go before halftime here in the Garden State. So with Bell out, Hubbard at the controls. Screen from Bello. Wagner looking for space. Long two is short, and the rebound collected by Carey again. Final minute here in the second quarter. Tyler Scaife. Here's that quick release. Bello kept the rebound alive.
So when Rutgers can score, then they can set up their pressure. Against Penn State, they didn't score the ball well, so they couldn't get into their 55 defense.
Bello, nice take. Give Wagner the assist, and Minnesota bridging the gap again, down by 6.
And that's what they need to do. They can balance it out a little bit, hit those threes, but if they can get in the paint and score there as well, good things can happen for them in the second half.
About 8 seconds separate the clocks. So Rutgers now with 9 on the shot clock. Scaife here against Hubbard. Screen from Wallace. Scaife, fall away. Tapped off the rim by Wagner. Minnesota a chance with 6 seconds. Hubbard pushing. Looking down low for Bello. Turnaround. Doesn't go. Halftime here in New Jersey. Rutgers had a 10-0 lead early. It's a 6-point margin at the break.
Well, both teams doing what they like to do. Minnesota shooting threes and making them. Rutgers steals and scores all afternoon.
A triple header, women's basketball on BTN at the break. The 21st ranked Scarlet Knights over the Golden Gophers, 40-34. Here in Piscataway, New Jersey, Rutgers on top of Minnesota, 40-34 as we get ready to start the third quarter. Welcome back inside the rack. Ed Cohen with the former Maryland star Christy Winter-Scott. So a double-double at halftime for Stasia Carey of Rutgers, 10 points, 10 rebounds, and the Scarlet Knights, 24 of their 40 points coming in the paint.
Well, they have been patient on the offensive end against the zone, reversing the ball and getting it into the paint on that weak side. They have been magnificent in terms of their execution against that zone.
And it was the Rutgers pressure that set the tone early in this one against Minnesota.
When we were talking about Rutgers' prowess on the defensive end, they forced 21 turnovers on average every game. They forced 11 in the first half for Minnesota. And then for Minnesota, they were knocking in threes. They hit 5 threes in the first half, ripping nets. So what Rutgers was doing efficiently on the inside, Minnesota was doing it efficiently on the outside.
Scarlet Knights shot 50%. Minnesota had 7 assists on 10 made baskets. Hubbard with 10 and Carey, her season highest 10. She's matched that and already her second double-double of the season in one half of play.
Yeah, Stasia Carey, she was very effective in terms of getting to the offensive board. She had 2 putbacks, so she got fouled on 1 and then made another spectacular one-handed putback as well. So those 10 boards are going to pay dividends because, as we all know, possession by possession wins games. You have to be efficient, you have to be effective and focused on defense to get the job done.
Rutgers had won 11 straight before their loss on the road at Purdue on Wednesday. C. Vivian Stringer, 7 wins shy of 1,000. It's been a mission, not just for her, but for her players. They count down the amount of wins left to 1,000 after every game when they win. And right now that number's gone from 23 entering the season to single digits.
Well, Tyler Scaife told me a couple of games back that, you know, she was very close to eclipsing the 2,000 points, and she said she didn't even care about that. She wanted to get C. Vivian Stringer her 1,000 wins. So that just goes to show the loyalty, the selflessness of a player like Tyler Scaife.
Minnesota first trip down here in the third. Destiny Pitts gets the bounce. Pitts may just be the best freshman that this staff in Minnesota has signed since they took over 3 years ago.
Well, she's definitely a hot shot. And when I say that, I don't mean in a conceited manner. I mean in a well-balanced, well-honed-in, skilled player coming in as a freshman to be on the court and be effective and impact the game the way that she has. Pitts has such a great future in Minnesota, and it's exciting to see.
Rachel Banham, Lindsay Whalen, 2 all-timers for the Golden Gophers. They've been to practice in recent weeks, said that Pitts has a chance to be the next all-time great in Minneapolis.
Lindsay Whalen has been on the broadcast team with the Minnesota Timberwolves, so kudos to her.
A nice scoop there from Carey, now with the season best 12, and Rutgers bumps the lead back up to 6.
Still trying to apply that pressure. Minnesota's doing a good job in terms of their pace, getting through that pressure, that 1-2-2.
The pass tied up. From behind, it was Green who got it for Rutgers, and Rutgers will get it back. Time now for our State Farm assist of the game.
Well, just a perfectly paced pass right here, a bounce pass in the lane. You've got to come and meet the ball. Stacia Carey with another paint point for the Scarlet Knights.
Rutgers shooting 50% in the first half. Carey's going to attack. Off the foot of Wagner. Is jarred loose by Harris, but taken by Hubbard. Bell. Nice hedge by Harris. It's Wagner. And the rebound for Bell. Right back to work. Rutgers defending well in the post. And steps called on Tye Bello, the sophomore.
I just kind of get the sense that Kanisha Bell is a bit frustrated, didn't have the most effective first half. She didn't score the ball well, and sometimes that takes players out, but what a spectacular rebound right there. I thought she could have scooped that up for a shot rather than pass it in traffic. Sometimes you have to be, you know, more aggressive in terms of your choices with your shots. Shot first. And if you can't get that shot, then pass it, right? Not the other way around.
Bell was just 1 for 5 in the first half. Only 3 points, Christy. Did have 1 assist as well and 6 turnovers. That hurt.
1-4 high look offensively for Rutgers, trying to move that ball against the zone.
KK Sanders, hesitation to the rim, and she's denied. Oh, Tye Bello with the recovery. Going to stay with the Scarlet Knights, 10 to shoot.
Well, many times, you know, when you're typing on your phone and you don't like what you see, what do? You delete it. And that's exactly what happened there defensively for Minnesota.
Pryor had to launch an air ball with the shot clock coming down. Minnesota's going to take over. I'm glad you're watching and not typing here.
Yeah, only during the timeouts. Tweeting.
Tyler Scaife coming back in with 7:39 to go here in the third. So Sanders beginning the third quarter out there.
1-2-2. Sometimes they trap and sometimes they don't. And that's the beauty of the defense, because you never know when it's coming, when it's going to clamp down on you. So you have to be weary, so you play in a cautious manner with the ball.
Another Minnesota turnover. Scaife. She's now 4 of 12 from the field. Ball saved, but Carey stepped out, and Minnesota will take back. Slow start for both sides here in nearly 3 minutes of the third quarter.
Right, and it's been the players who are the most efficient offensive players for each team. You know, Kanisha Bell missing her shots, and now Tyler Scaife not getting her shots down, but they're getting good opportunities. I thought Bell passed up that shot down there. Scaife had a great escape move right there to get a shot off.
Bell, strong take, offensive rebound again. Bello's been effective to start the quarter. Pitts is open, and she drains the three. And Minnesota's work on the glass creating more opportunities. It's a three-point game.
Well, that's the danger, right? If you're not going to rebound, especially with a team like Minnesota who's going to get it and kick it out for threes, you're going to be in trouble.
11 offensive rebounds for the Golden Gophers as Scaife gets 2 of those points back. Minnesota 13 second chance points. Can't pick up the dribble against this pressure, and a steal. Gia Green.
That's number 1 on the list. Keep your dribble. Teammates come and help. If we do have to pick it up, somebody come and help her. She was just left on an island. With the clock ticking, you only get 10 seconds to get it over.
Nice pass. Scaife can't connect. And couldn't get the rebound either.
I don't think Scaife was ready to receive that. I think she thought the shot was going to go up. You saw her body pop back on the catch.
Now Hubbard, a lot of contact. Harris is called for the blocking foul. And Hubbard a bit shaken up, the sophomore from Virginia, shooting 96% at the line coming in. Will have 2 here in this third quarter.
It was a great drive. I think it was just the contact on the floor. There was a stinger on the hip, but just on the offensive rebound, a nice skip pass. It's just beautifully executed, and that's what Minnesota does. They pick you apart, and they get their own rebounds. They get a skip pass. Pitts wide open for that 3. Because everyone's scrambling back defensively. When the shot goes up, everyone's kind of in a mosh in the middle, right? So then when the ball is secured by the offensive team, that kick out is an easy look.
For so many years under Rachel Bannerman, given she was an all-time great, but she could create her own offense. A little different with her gone, and the team has had to work a few seasons without Bannerman to find that offensive rhythm.
Yeah, and Kobe Bryant was in all of the 60 points that she scored her senior season in a Minnesota uniform.
What an epic one that was at Northwestern. Foul here on Bello is going to send the Scarlet Knights back to the line. Yeah, it's going to be Stasia Carey.
Carey to shoot.
Now see Vivian Stringer, Naismith Hall of Famer in 2009, and on the verge of reaching that great number 1,000. She reached 900 in 2013 against South Florida, and she had a great team, Christy, in 2008. Mattia Ajavon, Essence Carson Kia Vaughn, when she won 800 in this building as well.
All right, that team went to the Final Four, and you said you were here for the 900th win, so that must have been a lot of fun to see. So when she gets that 1,000th win, that's going to be a real treat to see the smile on the players' faces. That's what I want to see.
What made 900 special is that they lost, I think, the 4 or 5 games before it. It took a while as Wagner was going to the line. So it was joy, but also relief, because you didn't want it to sit there heading into the Big East tournament. And when they finally won that 900th game for C. Vivian Stringer, joy in this building, but certainly happy that it was over.
Sure, and that could be the same thing this season for the Big Ten tournament.
Yes.
You know, you never know. I mean, she's 7 off. It's right there. But yeah, get that out of the way.
Most Big Ten victories of all time. First coach, men's or women's, to take 3 schools to the Final Four, since matched by Rick Pitino and John Calipari.
Just spanning generations. See, Vivian Stringer has just been a magnificent role model for so many coaches and players who have played for her, just revered in terms of her knowledge of basketball, but most importantly, her life skills that she teaches through the game.
Right now, her team in a close one. Drive for Hubbard, scoop, rolls off, rebound, cleaned up by Edwards, but she couldn't cash in. How about the hustle by Hubbard? Who touched it last? Officials confer, and it was knocked out by Minnesota. But Marlene Stallings' team has brought the energy and the hustle. Right now, C. Vivian Stringer's squad in a fight at home, leading 45-42. 7 away from 1,000. 4:38 left, third quarter. Basketball on BTN is brought to you by State Farm, here to help life go right. So much has gone right in Tyler Scaife's time here on the banks of the old Raritan. And honored before the game, Christy Winter-Scott reaching 2,000 career points in the loss at Purdue. Needed 2, she scored 9. And look at the scoring ranks, the only 3 at Rutgers to reach 2,000 career points.
Amazing. When you talk about a player like Sue Wicks, who was a dominant force on the interior for Rutgers for so long, and she was coached by Teresa Grants, who's actually here today, and Cappy Pondexter, just an amazing WNBA and Olympic-level player who came through Rutgers and set the standard for players like Tyler Scaife, who has really done a phenomenal job over the course of her career.
And Brian Schenk, Teresa Grants' nephew, is on C. Vivian Stringer's staff, has been around the program since his days as a student. Rutgers with it, only 2 to shoot. Drive and finish by Jaslyn Rollins to beat the clock and bump the lead back to 5.
Yeah, penetrate those elbow areas against the zone. Things open up for you because they don't want to come and get that ball because they have to release off a post player on the block. Great read.
28 points in the paint for Rutgers of their 47. Taye Bello spins on carry, leans in and scores. Strong take there from the sophomore, whose play has only picked up steam as this season's gone on.
Well, her foot speed on the interior is unmatched, and that's why it's easy for her to get by in there. Taye Bello making her presence felt this afternoon on the road.
Steal for Pitts, took it away from Carey. Scarlet Knights turn it over for an 11th time, and they will get it right back. Minnesota with 16 turnovers here today.
Taye Bello right here, the quick turn and then pivot back to the other side. Great idea. You know, you've got to think on the fly. You've got to make reads depending upon how the defense is playing you and where the help side is going to come from. When she spun back the other way, she split that weak side help that was going to be there.
For those who can't see us, you've been snapping your fingers left and right.
I love it. I love it, especially great post moves on a quick rip and square up. Beautiful basketball.
Kathleen Fitzpatrick handles one of the transfers from St. Joseph, sat out last year, number 10 in white. Rollins, lob. Finish at the rim. Jenkins denied, but she'll go to the line for 2. Foul taken by Taye Bello. That's her 3rd. And Jenkins, only shooting 49% from the line, will hit a pair.
Well, when that ball's coming in, Taye Bello needed to already be on that baseline side. That's why she got caught a beat late and got whistled for the foul.
One more for Jenkins. Began her college career at Southern Miss. The big change, Christy, if you look at Rutgers top to bottom, there have been games they've had all 14 players on the roster appear. That's happened 13 times. Their depth is something that we haven't seen in a long, long time, especially since joining the Big Ten.
No doubt, and it's a treat, you know, and speaking with C. Vivian Stringer, she said, hey, when you have 8 players in your rotation, that's nice, but when you have 9, 10, that really gets to be a lot of fun because you can rotate players in different positions as it goes out on Minnesota, but just the balance for Rutgers has really been impressive as you see the points per game in conference play. 8 others just below 4 points, so everyone contributes in their own way.
But by no means is it a one-man team with Scaife. Rollins short that time. Offensive rebound, though, for Carey.
No, not at all, but coaches love to have that kind of versatility, especially on the defensive end. With a defensive-minded team, you can switch positions 1 through 4, basically.
Scaife steps out over Wagner and hits. Tyler Scaife with the jumper. And Scaife now with 12. Rutgers up 50-44, 2-minute mark of the 3rd quarter.
Well, even though Rutgers does have that balance, they want to see Tyler Scaife do what Tyler Scaife does, which is average just under 20 points a game.
Air ball Bell, taken up the floor by Rollins. Scaife matched her career high 29 1 week ago in the win against Penn State. Had 23 after halftime. Minnesota packing it in. Scaife draws 2, keeps the dribble going. Offensive foul. Charged into Wagner. And the Golden Gophers will get it back with 90 seconds to go in the 3rd.
Well, if the defender has their shoulders square, which Carly Wagner did, even though she was moving, some people are saying, well, she was moving. That's not the criteria. The criteria is if the defender has their shoulders squared to the offensive player. If they're in position and the offensive player knocks them over, that's an offensive foul.
Minnesota 3 of 8 from the field this quarter. Hubbard looking to turn the corner. Avoids a double. Wagner comes to the spot and drills the three. It's a 3-point game again here in New Jersey.
With the way Minnesota shoots that three ball at a 37% clip as a team, no lead is safe for Rutgers.
Third three for Carly Wagner. Final minute of the third. And a steal for Pitts. It was thrown away by Rollins. Golden Gophers can tie this game with a three. There have been no ties. Rutgers has led the entire way since they began the game with a 10-0 lead.
Rutgers has been in their man-to-man all game.
Ilo denied by Carey. Benson trying to force it into Edwards. All right, Christy, shot clock off. 21 seconds to go for Rutgers to round out this third quarter.
Let Tyler Scaife use some screens and get to the rim or get to a pull-up. Trying to use the clock, take it down under 10 seconds, and then attack.
Edge comes from Wagner. Forced it out of Scaife's hands. 4 seconds. Rollins for Carey. Leans in and is fouled by Edwards with 1.8 on the clock. So Minnesota forced it off of Scaife, but they'll get 2 free throws out of this, up by 3.
Well, it was a smart defensive play for Rutgers, just right here, trying to close down the paint, but Carly Wagner somehow escaped and got clean for a look from 3. And you just can't lose her. You have to know where she is. She's shooting 40% on the season from 3.
Rutgers has missed 4 free throws here tonight. They took only 4 in the loss to Purdue on Wednesday. Hubbard launching at the buzzer. And from 3/4 court doesn't go. After 3, Christie, Rutgers leading 51-47 over Minnesota.
Well, I love where this game is headed into the fourth quarter. Both teams feel confident. The history up high here in the rafters in New Jersey.
Tomorrow, the Buckeyes take on the Scarlet Knights on the men's side. Big Ten basketball tomorrow at 7 Eastern right here on BTN and streaming live on the BTN To Go app. Well, we talked about C. Vivian Stringer and her legend, but Teresa Grentz was the coach before Coach Stringer. And in her time on the Banks, Christie, 434 victories over 19 seasons.
Yeah, she was the coach here at Rutgers when I was playing at Maryland, and she was here from 1976 to 1995, and then coached at Illinois and Lafayette most recently. But just the history of having Teresa Grentz in the building and C. Vivian Stringer, come on, doesn't get better than that.
Coach Sue Wicks, many other greats. Styles were completely different. Rutgers was a high-scoring program under Teresa Grentz, more so than the pressure defense set by C. Vivian Stringer. Destiny Pitt, strong take, lays it in, and it's a 2-point game here in the fourth quarter.
Well, Minnesota has done a good job in the second half of getting paint points. They were outscored at halftime by 16 in that area. Turn things around now and close the gap with the points.
Scaife on the floor to begin the fourth quarter with Sanders, Jenkins, Carey, and Green. Scaife looking for space. Well defended by Bell. Scaife gets the rebound and connects the second try.
Scaife has been terrific in terms of her emotion and keeping that in check. On that last play, Tyler Scaife showed some emotion, and I think that may be the difference maker for Rutgers. Right here, Scaife gets that rebound and put it back in, and then did a little clap, got her teammates going. And then she had that game face. When she gets locked in that way and shows her passion for the game, things change for Rutgers.
Whole team respects her. She sets the tone. This is her group in her 5th year as a senior. Pitts off the mark on a 3, rebound for Scaife. 53-49 Rutgers. Under 9 to play. Ed Cohen, Christy Winter Scott, our entire BTN crew here from Piscataway, New Jersey. Rutgers winners of 11 of 12, undefeated at home. Minnesota 3-2 in conference play. Snaps on carry, spun right into Bello.
Hey, when you have a game face, you know when you see it on somebody else. She is locked in. Has she blinked yet? She didn't blink. That's when you know your players are dialed in. They don't have a pout, they don't have any emotion, but you know they are just finely tuned in terms of what they're thinking about and how they can help impact the team in a positive way.
Spoken like a true coach, right?
Oh yeah, the eyes tell the story.
Nice block there. Carey took it away cleanly from Wagner. Minnesota with 18 turnovers, season highs 19. The Rutgers team forcing the most in the Big Ten, over 21 a game. KK Sanders had a big start to this game. Carey offloads. Green will take the three, and she buries it. Gia Green from outside for the Scarlet Knights, their third three of the game.
And it came at a great time. Rutgers looking to add some cushion because of the way Minnesota shoots threes.
It's almost. Ball tied up. Arrow says back to Rutgers with 7:37 to go.
And we're talking about defense and the energy it takes to help one another. Rutgers just smothering the ball. And for Rutgers, they're not just a scrappy team in terms of getting into the painted area. They can knock down some threes as well.
Rutgers 3 of 7 from 3 here tonight. That's exceptional when you consider they were 1 for 20 from 3 in the loss to Purdue.
No doubt.
Scaife collects. Tough shot. Edwards with the rebound for Minnesota.
Well, Tyler Scaife lost the handle on that one and didn't really have a good grip on the basketball, and that's always a tough shot because you end up pushing it up there instead of shooting it.
Bell is going to reset it here against Green. 9 to shoot for the Golden Gophers. High-low denied by Carey. It's going to stay with Minnesota with 7 on the shot clock as Jaslyn Rollins re-enters for Rutgers in the place of Gia Green.
Nice use of that outside hand by Carey defensively. She's got those long limbs, so you don't want to throw the ball in her area like that or shoot it in her area.
Straight up.
Shouldn't even jump.
Sanders in trouble. Hubbard deflects and steals it. Godiva Hubbard. Carey came back to knock it loose. Another denial from Stasia Carey. Ball dribbled out of bounds. And Minnesota's going to take over with 6:34 to play in what is a 7-point game.
And you've got those long limbs. You can get blocks without leaving your feet, so you're not going to foul, right? Watch Carey right here. She jumps initially and then comes down and just finishes and gets a deflection on it. But 2 back-to-back stops on flat-footed blocks by Carey. Most impressive.
He has made a major impact today. Had a double-double by halftime. Bell, nice feed. Edwards with the finish. Minnesota back within 5 as we near 6 minutes to go.
Well, Kanisha Bell's not scoring the ball effectively on her own, but she can find a way to create offense for her team. And that's what it's all about.
Timeout, C. Vivian Stringer. Trying to stay perfect here at home at the Rack in New Jersey.
Stick, stick, stick. Post-game stick, 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 stick. Hello, hello. Check, check. Mike, you got me? Check, check. Check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Mike, you got me? Hello, hello. Check, check, check. Post game, post game. Hey, Mike, you there? Check, check. I can hear the announcers.
Rutgers on top of Minnesota, 56-51. Ned Cohen, Christy Winter-Scott with you. And Stasia Carey has been a force on both ends of the floor inside for the Scarlet Knights.
Well, she's just been terrific in terms of her continuous activity off the ball. She's been terrific at scoring the ball inside, but it's been the defense by Stasia Carey and Rutgers that has really carried forward in this game and made a huge impact, holding Minnesota well under their average. They only have 51 points at this juncture, and we're talking about a team who scores well over 80 points a game. So Rutgers getting the job done there.
86 points per game for the Golden Gophers. Third in the Big Ten, 11th in the country. Carey has 3 blocks. Rutgers with 9 overall. Rollins had a look. Harris crashes. Oh, she ripped it away from Edwards, but the ball was tied up. Edwards went flying, and the arrow says Minnesota gets it back. So good grip there by Edwards.
That's what you have to do. You have to let people know that that is your ball. When it's up in the air, this is mine. Mine, okay? Make a statement, and not to hurt anybody, but let the record show, right? That it's yours.
Super glue made it through security here on this road trip. Wagner steps out, a three-pointer. Harris up for the rebound, couldn't hold on. Second chance, Pitts steps out and drills the three on the offensive glass. Now 14 for Minnesota, and they're back within 2.
Destiny Pitts, you can't sleep on her. You've got to get out, crowd her space. You cannot let her get those threes off. That's 8 threes now for Minnesota.
3 for Pitts, she has 16. Carey cut off on the baseline, threw it down to Bello. She was still in bounds and kept it in play.
Well, Carey was trying to hit it off of her, and Bello caught it.
Minnesota can tie or take the lead with a 3. Midway point, fourth quarter. Nighter shoot for the Golden Gophers. Reset for Hubbard. Here again, Scaife. Bello sets a screen. 3 to shoot. Hubbard on the drive. Up off glass and good. And Minnesota has tied this game for the first time today. Knotted up at 56.
It was a bit of a mismatch. And Victoria Harris couldn't stay with.
Timeout, C. Vivian Stringer.
Well, Minnesota trying to get back into this game. Destiny Pitts knocks down a 3, and then the drive right there by Hubbard. Minnesota's coming for you.
Thank you, Mike. So Minnesota, Christie, has stormed back after trailing 10-0 early. 8 threes for the Golden Gophers in a matchup of 2 completely different styles.
Well, contrasting styles. So when you look at what Rutgers has been able to do defensively, only giving up 54 points to their opponents and holding them to only 36% from the floor. That's almost exactly what they're doing here this afternoon, holding Minnesota to 34% from the floor and well under their 89-point average. They have 56. So this plays into the hands of Rutgers for sure.
Hubbard almost knocked it away. Marlene Stalling saying Minnesota had to match Rutgers' physicality. 14 offensive rebounds have led to 16 second chance points. 3 to shoot for Rutgers. Rollins floater, weak side, tapped around, and Pitts comes away with it. 1 against 3. Hits, contact, offensive foul. Oh, the freshman steamrolls to the rim, and KK Sanders got back there to draw the charge.
Well, I'm holding my head and I didn't get hit, but my goodness. I'm surprised she still has her headband on. That was a colossal collision. Boom. Ooh. I'm glad everyone's okay. That was terrifically executed. That's taking one for the team for sure on that.
That was the Acela. That was not a local Amtrak trip. Tie game at 56. Carey, spin against Bello. High off glass and good. Stasia Carey for Rutgers. Double-double tonight now with 16 points.
And she has been the steadying force for Rutgers, consistent. She has sustained her production from the beginning of the game to this moment.
Minnesota has not led today. There's been one tie and a steal. It's Sanders. Attacks the rim and scores. KK Sanders with 5 steals here today. Three and change to go at the rack. Crowd getting behind Rutgers. Scaife trying to fight through the screen. Bello rolls, knocked away by Carey. Rutgers pushing off another turnover. Scaife, floater, in and out. Tied up from behind by Harris. And the arrow says it will stay with the Scarlet Knights.
Rutgers may as well have defense written across their chest instead of Rutgers, because that's what they do. Steal and score. Get down the floor and finish easily. And those paint points coming up huge right now. 34 points in the paint for Rutgers. It's only 18 for Minnesota.
Sanders with the ball at the point guard spot, providing the energy in this fourth quarter, drawing that monster charge, and then the steal and score, but they give it right back. Bell for Wagner, 3 at the spot, is good for Carly Wagner. Timeout, Marlene Stallings with 2:33 to go, and Minnesota within 1 at 60-59.
Well, that's what we said early on. No lead is safe because of the way Minnesota shoots the ball from 3. You've got to find Carly Wagner in transition. She's counting on releasing a shot from 3. The bench is loving it. They're saying, let's go. You see C. Vivian in the background trying to get her team collected here at home.
Carly Wagner today, Christy, with 17 points. She's 4 of 9 from three-point range. And she's played the entire game, 37 minutes already for the senior from New Richland, Minnesota.
9 threes for Minnesota today, and it's just been phenomenal to see where they get their threes. They're not just firing up shots, they're getting it within what they do well, which is pushing tempo, letting the defense pack the paint in transition, and kicking it out for threes.
9 threes for the Golden Gophers, right at their season average per game. Second most in the Big Ten. Scaife trying to answer to her jump step, and she hits just like that. Scarlet Knights back up by 3.
Tyler Scaife's mid-range game is phenomenal.
16 for Scaife. Coming up on 2 minutes to go here in Piscataway. Bell takes on Scaife. Wagner, three-pointer is good, and we are tied at 62. Wagner now with 20.
Let it fly, Carly Wagner, let it fly. She's talking to her teammates on defense saying, come on, let's go, we need to stop. That's what leaders do.
Carey in the soft spot, they sag, and she hits. Both teams with answers at the offensive end. Under 90 seconds to go, Rutgers up 2.
And Rutgers defense come up big, or is Minnesota's offensive prowess going to kill it?
Hits wants it. And a switch here against Scaife. 9 to shoot for the Golden Gophers. Wagner hesitates, hits for the lead. Hit as she fired the 3, and she'll go to the line for 3 free throws as Sanders knocked her down with 1:06 to go in a 2-point game.
And now Rutgers is in scramble mode, trying not to allow the 3, but the momentum created the contact there for Sanders on the foul.
And see Vivian Stringer looking right at KK Sanders. Coach Stringer holding her arms straight up. They're still up. 1:06 to go. Rutgers with 1 timeout left. 2-point lead with 3 free throws coming up.
Well, Carly Wagner has just been outstanding in terms of finding her spots. She moves without the basketball to find her sweet spot from 3 and then kiss the sky after. And then Stacia Carey just coming up big all afternoon long for Rutgers. And They're trying to get themselves calm and collected here and see what Minnesota's going to do on the free throw line. With Pitts, the freshman, stepping up.
Those have been the stars for Rutgers, as has been the case all season. Carey and Scaife. Pitts, 5-time Big Ten Freshman of the Week. Christie, she's 3 for 3 at the line today. Normally 83%, and now 3 attempts.
And we're talking about her offense. I mean, she brings it with her boards, 8 a game to lead the team as a freshman.
Tied up at 64, and now a chance for Minnesota to take its first lead here today with 1:06 to go. Golden Gophers 65, Scarlet Knights 64. Final minute here at the rack. Sanders looking at C. Vivian Stringer. Rutgers has not lost at home all year, 11-0. 10 to shoot for Scaife. Scaife attacks Wagner. Runner is good for Tyler Scaife, and Rutgers goes up by 1.
Great isolation execution on that offensive set.
Wagner trying to answer, knocked away. Harris kept it in bounds. Marlene Stallings saying they need to foul. Hubbard applies it to Sanders with 30.5 to go, and the Scarlet Knights leading by 1.
When in doubt, isolate for Tyler Scaife. If you're Rutgers, that's who you want to have the ball at this juncture. She takes it 1-on-3 in the ISO situation, but then on the other end, Carly Wagner not as successful because Rutgers did a good job of packing the paint right in front of the rim.
That was only Minnesota's 17th out here in the 4th quarter, so still with 2 more to give before Rutgers is even in the bonus. It's applied at midcourt by Hubbard again on Sanders with 28.3 to go, so they can't afford to waste too much time here in a 1-point game.
Yeah, it's got to be a sprint. And you have to make a play on the ball. You can't shove anybody, you can't pull their shirt. You've got to make a play on the ball.
And now Carey's revved up quickly by Pitts. Less than a second comes off the clock. So now 14 fouls on Minnesota, and the next one will send Rutgers to the line.
Well, initially you want to try to steal it, and if you don't get that steal, it's automatic right away.
Bell to Green, and Gia Green will go to the line for the Scarlet Knights. So in less than 5 seconds, they got Rutgers to the line and committed 4 fouls. Pretty good.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Gia Green hasn't been there much this year. 2 for 2 here today. 13 of 16 for the season, and she drains the first.
Well, that's what you have to do. You've got to make your free throws and situational plays down the stretch in games.
2 for 2. Minnesota using the timeout, so each team now with 1 remaining and 26.7 seconds to go. Rutgers 68, Minnesota 65, and they can take the inbounds in the front court with a chance to tie this game with a 3.
Well, that's why it works to use the clock, right? And come and meet the basketball. Let the opponent foul you. You have the lead, so you don't need to force up shots. But you need to preserve the possession. And by preserving the possession, you make your free throws. Because if you miss those free throws right there, that's another opportunity for Minnesota to come down and win the game. But if now you're up a full possession, 3 points. So you pad your possession there by making your free throws, come down and get a stop, and that could be the end of the game if you make your free throws again. So they need 1 more turn like that.
Christie, Minnesota's knocked down 10 threes today. Pitts with 3, Wagner with 5, and Hubbard with 2. It's a 3-point game, and no shortage of options right now for Marlene Stallings.
No, and that's the beauty of their roster. And that makes it tough, obviously, for Rutgers to pick and choose, but hey, they've got to switch everything defensively, and that's what we were talking about because of their versatility. Everyone can switch. So that's what they're going to need to do. They have to apply strong pressure and not let anyone see the light of day from 3.
Remember, Rutgers with only one team foul here in the fourth quarter. So depending on the situation, they have 3 to give.
Right. I think they're going to Wagner, though.
23 seconds. Hubbard looking Wagner's way. Double comes. Wagner against Harris. Out for Pitts off the deflection. The 3 is good in front of Minnesota's bench. And we're tied at 68. 10 seconds to go. Rutgers with a timeout. 6 seconds. Scaife off the screen. Lost the ball. 2 seconds. Wagner for Bell. Gets it away. Can't hit. And we're going to overtime in New Jersey. What a finish to regulation. Destiny Pitts. 3 free throws and then the 3 to force overtime.
The senior to the freshman. Wagner to Pitts, who nails the baseline 3, and I love the bench. And then the steal. Oh, there's like 2 seconds to go. You gotta get it out of your hands. Oh, just a little too strong on the back of the rim, and we have bonus basketball.
And in looking at the clock on the other side of the floor, and right there, it clearly would have counted and came before the light.
Yeah, and she got it out of her hands just in the nick of time. She couldn't have taken a dribble. She wouldn't have made it, but wow. Just such a crucial moment. If you're Minnesota, look at Edwards, like, get that ball, there's time, there's time. And then it just came out, and then everyone kind of collapsed to the ground. Carly Wagner just wanted to see that go in.
So 5 extra minutes, and Christie, first overtime game for each of these teams. Rutgers last played in overtime last season in December, a double overtime loss here against James Madison. Minnesota's last overtime game, a victory last year in early February on the road at Nebraska.
Well, when you have a game like this, it comes down to not only who wants it more, but who is the most focused, who is the most competitive, who is the most honed in on the little details, which we know are big details. This Rutgers team got the stops necessary throughout the game, but we were talking about those couple of turnovers that were unforced, and then they turned it over on their last opportunity. So when it comes down to it, who has the most wherewithal? Who has the most heart?
Well, these are the kinds of games, when you look back on the regular season, could go a long way in deciding seeding in the Big Ten tournament starting in late February in Indianapolis. Rutgers 4-1 coming in, tied for second place, in Minnesota right there on their heels.
You see Rutgers got into the top 25 for the first time in a couple of seasons since back in 2015. They're at 21, and just to see them turn things around, I think has been most impressive. Only 6 wins last year, and Minnesota chomping at the bit, trying to right the ship, if you will, with only 15 wins last year. They're trying to make their presence felt, and you know, the leadership and the depth on both sides, so they're very similar in that regard, but their balance and versatility. That's why this game is going to overtime.
In case you're just joining us, this is a game that Rutgers led for the entire way late into the fourth quarter. It was a 10-0 lead to start. There have been 4 ties and 2 lead changes, and now the first overtime game for both sides, knotted up at 68. Reverse everybody.
Reverse.
Going the same way as they did in the fourth quarter. Edwards and Carey for the tip, underway in overtime. It's 1 to Wagner. And away we go. Ed Cohen, Christie Winter-Scott, our entire BTN crew with you. Part of our women's basketball triple header. Iowa and Purdue coming up next.
They're staying pat with that man-to-man pressure just everywhere. These Sanders' feet are just so good getting through screens.
5 to shoot. Hubbard, big screen from Edwards. Offensive board, Wagner leans in. Popped out. Loose ball, Edwards, another chance. Knocked away, tied up. Arrow says it's going back to Rutgers. Wow. Victoria Harris.
She is a force in the paint for Rutgers. Watch, Edwards is going to get it and say, hey, I'm right here at the basket. Let me try to shoot it. Oh, not today.
Caitlin Jenkins already sitting at the table, set to come on for Rutgers in overtime. Sanders for Carey in a double, went up strong and got fouled. And Stasia Carey will go to the line where today she has struggled 3 for 6.
Well, tight quarters inside. Stasia Carey, all you do is throw it up high for those long arms. She got hit up high and down low by Minnesota.
18 points and 13 rebounds for Stasia Carey. 7 of 10 from the field. And now Jenkins will come on for Harris. Bello for Edwards from Minnesota.
The team's going with a little more speed in that transition there.
Remember, Rutgers got 2 free throws from Green to make it a 3-point game again late in regulation. Pitts sending it to overtime with the 3. And we're going to foul near midcourt. KK Sanders, just 2 on Rutgers. If you add up their team fouls in the fourth quarter, they committed just 1 in the fourth.
It always amazes me when you have good defensive position and you reach in. You're right there. Just keep them in front of you. You're not going to get the steal, but your pressure will make them throw a bad pass, so your teammate can get the steal.
Bello open off the mark. Rebound for Jenkins. Slow start for Minnesota here in overtime. 70-68 Rutgers with over a minute gone by.
I like this matchup with Scaife and Bell.
Carey in midair, puts it in on the assist from Tyler Scaife. Four-point lead for the Scarlet Knights. Pitt sets a screen. Hubbard with room to fire. Jenkins tapped it out, and Carey with the rebound.
Again, she has been a monster on the glass for the Scarlet Knights.
Scaife goes to work against Bell. The big matchup coming in on a switch against Pitts. Scaife lets it fly. And Hubbard, or rather Wagner, pulls down the rebound. Wagner pull-up jumper from 2-point range for Carly Wagner. Minnesota back with it too.
Well, that was a great read offensively by Carly Wagner. She felt the pressure on the defensive end from Rutgers on her left side, but felt that if she stopped, she was going to get hemmed in with a trap, so kept going to rise and fire in the mid-range.
Sanders trying to answer. Bello got a piece. Sanders kept it alive. Scaife, floater no good, and Wagner pulls it down.
Patience and poise. Coach Stallings over there letting them know what set they're going to run.
Minnesota's led by only a point late in the fourth quarter. Wagner fakes, fires, can't connect. Rebound for KK Sanders with under 2 minutes to go in overtime, and Rutgers up 72-70.
Marlene Stallings was upset that there was no one there for the offensive boards.
It's been such a strength here today.
Right, not that you didn't get it, but there was no one in there to be available if it came their way.
Scarlet Knights a chance to extend the lead. 7 to shoot. Scaife wants it against Bell. 3 to shoot. Long 2, good for Tyler Scaife. And the Scarlet Knights are back up by 4. They're going to review to see if it was a 2 or a 3, but her foot seemed to be on the line. And for now, Rutgers leads by 4.
If it was a 2 or a 3, one thing I do know, it was funky. That shot was terrific. Watch how she sizes up Bell right here, pulls her back over this way. Bell was still there to contest it, but Scaife, with their game face locked in, got it to go. They're going to take a look at her feet. Her right foot was clearly over that line, but ooh, that's just a tough make by Tyler Scaife. Beautiful done.
20 points here today for the third all-time leading scorer here at Rutgers. She had 23 last time in this building against the Golden Gophers back in December of 2015. Minnesota found a way late in regulation. They'll have to do the same down by 4 on the road here in overtime.
Zone here by Rutgers, so they're ever present around the perimeter.
Hubbard driving kick. Open look Bell. Air balls the three. It was knocked out of bounds by Jenkins. And since it never hit the rim, 11 to shoot for Minnesota.
Bell was 0 for 1 before that last shot. There are other viable options who have been more consistent today from 3.
Off the inbounder, Hubbard, and out of bounds. Miscommunication that time, it seems, between Edwards and Hubbard, and the Scarlet Knights will take over with 1:08 to go in overtime.
And that's what can't happen. If you want to win games, you can't turn the ball over at crucial moments.
Final minute here in the extra session. Dangerous pass, but Gia Green has it. Scaife wants it, gets it from Green. Rutgers will bring the clock down. 9 to shoot. High screen from Jenkins. Scaife splits it. In, scores off the window. Split to double. The lead is 6. Timeout Minnesota with 42.9 to go here at the rack.
Hey, when you love the game of basketball, you let it show. Ooh, Tyler Scaife behind the back off the glass. Just pretty stuff, and she's swole. She's swole. Look at her muscles. She is loving it right now, and so are her teammates. Minnesota running out of time here on the road, but what a performance down the stretch by Tyler Scaife. When you put the work in, it shows in clutch moments.
Look at the advantage points in the paint for Rutgers, 42-18 in this game. And Christy, I think there was a moment where Green was looking for the screen from Scaife, and Tyler came over and said, no, I'm the star. I need the ball at this time.
Hey, she's the most confident, so she should have the ball. She's making plays.
6-point lead, 40 seconds to go. Wagner hounded by Green. Pitts, over carry. In and out, halfway down, Scaife with the rebound, stays in bounds and is fouled by Hubbard with Rutgers in the bonus. And 2 free throws coming for Tyler Scaife to make this a 2-possession game late in overtime. 3-possession game.
What do you do at the end of games? You get the ball in the hands of your senior leader right here in the hands of Scaife as she gets fouled, coming up the sideline, giving fans a high five. Oh, I love that kind of stuff. That's so awesome, getting the fans involved.
Obviously an amazing story for this young woman. Didn't play last year after undergoing open heart surgery. Gave no explanation why she sat out last year until this past November. And she's downplayed that moment in her life. I think to mention it now is almost old news because she has looked forward and has not made this season about what she's overcome. She's trying to make this about getting Rutgers to a great place and finish her career as one of the all-time best here in the program.
But everyone else knows.
Yes.
And that's what makes this season that much more special, to see her play and thrive.
Wagner on the take. Left it short, was out of bounds when it came down. 20.6 to go, and Rutgers in a real fight today in Piscataway, on the verge of improving to 12-0 here at home.
Well, Rutgers has been outstanding here at the rack. Great fan base as well, who have been loving it, high-fiving with Tyler Scaife coming up the sideline. See, that fan won't forget that. You know, and the kids here who are watching, these young girls watching Tyler Scaife do stuff like that, that's the awesome part.
Let's see what this day has been like for Tyler Scaife here from regulation to overtime.
Well, it's been phenomenal. She's been able to free herself for shot after shot because of her teammates. Great spacing by her squad, and she's here at home. They love the fact that Tyler Scaife is the consummate teammate. It's not about her by herself, but when you talk about Rutgers basketball, you have to mention the impact that Tyler Scaife has made.
Inbounds to Carey. Pitts applies the foul. Less than a second coming off the clock. So Carey will go back to the line where today she is 5 of 8. in a 7-point game.
Carry and shoot
Coming back to Scaife, 23 today, just like the last meeting here 2 years ago against Minnesota. And you think about the 33 points total in the loss to Purdue on Wednesday. Rutgers had 40 by halftime. One more free throw coming for Stasia Carey.
Well, you have to credit the defense of Purdue in that contest, where they only had those 33 points. I mean, Purdue only had 47, so it was a grinded-out defensive battle that Purdue won.
Timeout, Marlene Stallings. Final one for the Golden Gophers in overtime. They'll get the inbounds in the front court, but Rutgers with the 78-70 advantage. And we said this coming into overtime, a game that could play a big part going forward in the Big Ten. Rutgers coming in with a 4-1 record. Minnesota at 3-2 in the conference.
Right, but what Rutgers has been able to do well against the zone by Minnesota is continue to attack the paint. You know, opponents play Rutgers in a zone to hope that they'll settle for outside shots. But Rutgers is like, you can play the zone if you want to. But they pick it apart by setting those screens at the elbow. They get middle penetration and score in the lane. When that defense commits to that ball near that big sign right there by the free throw line, then they pitch it underneath for a layup by their post players. So they've just been magnificent in terms of their offensive reads against the zone, and their ability to score in the paint has been magnificent today.
Points in the paint, as we've talked about, 42-18 for Rutgers. And a steal, it's Green ahead with 15 seconds. Golden Gophers trying to foul. Scaife against Bell. Bell applies it with 8.6 to go. And Rutgers, after a scare and a great start to this game, is going to stay undefeated here at home. Late in overtime, it's been Scaife who has taken over.
And don't sleep on Minnesota, though. Oh, what a great team they have, and their balance, especially on the offensive end, has just been fun to watch. But see, Vivian Stringer has her team back in the win column.
Marlene Stallings has talked about the bench for Minnesota. Didn't get the boost that we've seen in recent games. Outscored just once all season. Brunson short, tapped around, and at the buzzer, Rutgers holds on in overtime, 80-70 over Minnesota. See Vivian Stringer now 6 wins away from 1,000 for her career. 80-70 Scarlet Knights over the Golden Gophers. For Christy Winter-Scott, I'm Ed Cohen. Let's send it to Keaton Galogly and Shelley Tillin, Iowa City for Iowa and Purdue.
Are you going to cue me? Yep. Coach Stringer, it took an extra stanza for your team, but you got it done in overtime. What was the X factor for the victory today?
Just that fight. I thought that Tyler really stepped it up in a big way. I kept taking her out because she seemed a little tired, you know, in terms of playing on the defensive side, and that's what it requires. But as I was telling her, you know, she's capable of scoring that on anybody at any particular time. And so we didn't have such a great game the last game that we played, and so she needed to step up, and everybody really. I thought that we could have done a better job in terms of the control that we had to have from the point guards, but that Stacia was amazing. A double-double, she came to play today. And what was interesting about that is that she had to play a much smaller player. And so she showed me something, and I'm really proud of her. And really the heart and the hustle and the attitude and the ability for us to be resilient and come back.
Right. And against a team like Minnesota who loves to shoot the three, how was the defensive pressure in that overtime different because you took that away from them?
It was the way that we were playing defense. You noticed that we generally were playing the 55, right? You only saw that a couple of times, right? We needed to save our energy, do some other things. And so, I mean, that's the way it is. And that was good that we were able to adjust like that, because generally it's the 55 that gives us that fuel and that fighting intensity. But it was great tonight, the way that they able to adjust. So I'm happy and looking forward to the rest for a couple days and on to Penn State next, I guess.
Right. And then the ability of your team to bounce back after the loss, what does that say for the character of your squad?
I'm glad you said that because that's what we were looking for. When we started our season, we were the people that were hunting. So there's a big difference between hunting and then being the hunted. And so I saw a different look in their face. And so now that we basically, we're beaten, and it was good to see that fight that said, no, we're not. That's not the way we're going to go down. We've got to fight. And so we look forward to it, and everybody stepped up in the way that they had. I'm extremely proud of our team.
Thank you, Coach. Just let me know. What a fantastic performance down the stretch. What was it about your leadership that changed the course of the game in overtime?
Well, I feel like all season we've had that we don't want to lose mentality, and Coach she benched me the second half, get my mind right, and that kind of fired me up, pumped me up. She gave me a few words, and I just didn't want the team to lose, and we didn't want to lose either, so we fought hard back.
And with Minnesota's zone defense, you guys still took it in the paint and scored in an efficient manner. What did that mean for your team, and how did you get that to happen for your squad?
Yesterday we were working on getting in the gaps of the zones. We've been seeing a lot of zone, and it showed today we were able to get to the gaps pretty quickly, easily too. And I don't know, I guess in practice, we just been taking it a little bit more serious, and it's paying off in the game.
And in terms of bouncing back after that last game, when you only scored 33 points and to have 40 points at halftime in this contest, what does that say for the character of your team moving forward in Big Ten play?
That we have a lot of heart, and I've said that before. We got a lot of heart on this team. We didn't have a good game at Purdue, but we showed today that we're still one of the top teams in Big Ten.
Appreciate your time. Great game.
Thank you.